Pablo, good to see you. How you doing? Manny, good to see you. So how you doing? Evening. Stormy, good to see you. So how you doing? How you been? Troy, good to see you. So how you doing? How you been? How's everyone doing today? Scott, good to see you. So how you doing? How was your day? Extremely busy. Today was more than usual busy, I would have to say. But good. How's your day, Scott? Glenda, good to see you. So how you doing? Comatose, good to see you. So how you doing? Hi, Miles. Tell us something good. There's quite a bit of news to go for tonight's live show. Mixture of news, I would have to say. Your parents and your business. My parents doing very well. Thank you so much for asking, Scott. My business is doing okay as well. Busy schedule has been. Good evening, Miles and family. Ian, good to see you. So how you doing? Good, my mentor. Let's go, Scott. Troy, good to see you as well. Happy Pisces, good to see you. So how you doing? So, we'll do a gist of what we're going to talk about on tonight's live show. And then we do the intro, disclaimer. By that time, everyone's tuned in for the first part of the live show. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Thanks for my help earlier. No problem, David, anytime. Denise, good to see you. So how you doing? How you been? So, on tonight's live show, we're going to be talking about on the way the market is moving right now. We're going to go for the bullet points and so on. But we're going to talk about the US spot Bitcoin ETFs. Recently seen their biggest single day essentially outflows since the past 90 days. We're going to be essentially going through the bullet points and the data points on that matter as well. We're also going to be talking about quantum computing again. So recently on this live show, I revealed that China has had major breakthroughs in quantum computing, which got the UK and the EU and the US back together working on quantum computing. And it seems like Germany has also now had a breakthrough in quantum computing. And they only got back together because China is having breakthroughs. We're also going to talk about tonight's live show regarding the US voters and a perspective from Mike Novoscott. The billionaire, essentially Mike Novoscott, has given his perspectives on US politics and the voting scene that's going on right now on Trump and Kamala Harris and RFK Kennedy Jr. We're also going to talk about tonight's live show regarding VanEck. VanEck's CEO has came up with another perspective and a prediction on where he thinks Bitcoin is going to go now, starting now. We're also going to talk about tonight's live show regarding Senator Luminous. So Senator Cynthia Luminous recently introduced the Bitcoin Act of 2024, which was something that was introduced, the idea was introduced by Trump in the Bitcoin Nashville event, and then picked up by Senator Cynthia Luminous as the Bitcoin Act 2024. And there is a massive amount of support apparently behind this act now, where they've received a multitude of letters to essentially supporting the idea to make it move forward. So we're going to go through that as well on tonight's live show. We're also going to be talking about the exposed truth about WorldCoin. So WorldCoin is a crypto project where they scan people's eyes and then they give you a crypto wallet and they give you free tokens if you scan your eye. Now, I talked about WorldCoin when it launched. The first time I ever talked about WorldCoin was when WorldCoin launched and they were scanning people's eyes, giving them $40 worth of WorldCoin tokens. And I said it's the worst idea ever. And I said that people are selling their data, going into a digital world. And I said people are selling their data for pennies over the, pennies over cents for some few free extra tokens. So there's been you could say, a documentary, and this is because of Ecuador. So WorldCoin has launched in multiple jurisdictions, and some jurisdictions kicked them out of their own jurisdictions. So WorldCoin is no longer allowed to operate here. But Ecuador took it a step further and essentially said, we're going to expose WorldCoin on how they're actually the first ones to start basic universal credit in a digital world. So we're going to be talking about that on tonight's live show as well. But we're also going to be talking about the economist Raoul Pal. He's came out and he said that what's going on inside the crypto space right now is pretty much nothing and nothing to worry about. Something that I said yesterday as well on this live show. But there's a perspective from Raoul Pal as well. We're also going to talk about on tonight's live show regarding BlackRock's Samara Cohen, who predicted that crypto ETFs to enter a model portfolios by the end of 2024. Which is a massive perspective coming from BlackRock as well. And also yesterday, me saying that they're throwing the word recession around to create massive panic before obviously the next Fed reports come out. And it seems like BlackRock is essentially on point exactly on what I said a few nights ago. BlackRock is repeating what I said, interesting enough. Even BlackRock thinks that we're technically not really going into a recession in any sort of a way. But we're going to go through that as well on tonight's live show. We're also going to talk about the Democratic's elites, crypto industry leaders, to hold a virtual roundtable on Monday. So what was announced as a rumor and then became from familiar sources has now shifted over to actually happening. There's a crypto roundtable happening on Monday. And apparently we're going to have high-profile crypto executives and directors around this roundtable with Kamala Harris, somebody that doesn't understand what blockchain technology is. But she's going to be around the table, sitting basically next to, on the words, it's Brad. It's going to be another member of Ripple, another member of high-profile executives and directors inside the crypto scene. But this is happening on Monday. So those are the news titles we're going to be going through on tonight's live show, and it's a bit of a mixture of news regarding perspective news and data news, and from executives and directors. Welcome to the CMF live show. If you're watching this for the first time ever, on this live show I talk about the most recent things that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, everything for you to know that the world is essentially moving over to a digital era. And on this live show, we also do Q&As as well, live Q&As. We are right now live on X and on YouTube, as usual. And you can get involved in the comment section. I read everybody's comments one by one and give a response to everybody because I've taken time out their day to write a comment. So I'm going to be responding to everybody as well. So don't worry if you do put a comment in, even for the first time ever, I'm going to respond to you on live right now. And the disclaimer of this live show: not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So welcome to the CMF live show if you're watching this for the first time ever. And if you're regular, let's go CMF. We also have a Telegram group as well called Crypto Mouse Family, which anybody's more than welcome to join. And everybody's very respectful to each other inside this Telegram group as well. It's completely free. So the first news we're going to go through on tonight's live show is regarding the US spot Bitcoin ETFs and how they've seen recently their biggest single day outflow from the past 90 days. So for the past 90 days, it's been pretty much okay on the Bitcoin spot ETFs, movements coming in on inflows. And then suddenly we had the worst drop on these US spot Bitcoin ETFs since the past 90 days. But before we go through that, let's go to the comment section first. Let's see where we were. We got it, Clothing. Good to see you as well. How you doing, brother? Woodhouse, good to see you as well. How you doing? Share the program, family. Let's go, Scott. Looking forward to seeing you today. Let's go, Troy. Adi, hi, Miles and all CMF. Good to see you as well. Adi, how you doing? Greetings, everyone. Brian, good to see you as well. How you doing? Come on. How you doing? Good to see you as well, brother. Hi, Miles. Can you post YouTube link on Telegram, please? Yes. Somebody from the CMF, please post the Telegram. Please post this live show's YouTube live on Telegram so T can join on the YouTube one. Somebody from the CMF, any one of the moderators of the CMF, or even members of the CMF, please post the YouTube live show of this live show right now on Telegram so T can use that link. Hi, Miles of CMF. Dennis, good to see you. How you doing? Live on X is so laggy for me. Yeah, some people prefer YouTube because it says it lags less. Even the Miles of CMF, Sample, good to see you. How you doing? Hello, Miles of CMF. Good to see you as well. Coin, how you doing? Do you know anything about the XRP healthcare? Yes, I do, and I'll tell you what I know about it exactly. Glenda, thank you so much for the $100 donation to the CMF hedge fund, which is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the donation, Glenda, for $100. Miles, has RSUD gone live yet? No. I'll tell you why as well. So first, Brian's question. Brian's question is, do you know anything about XRP Healthcare? Yes, I do. I've looked into XRP Healthcare in the past. So when XRP Healthcare was mentioned for the first time ever, I went to their website and I did a thorough due diligence on their website. And on their partner section, they mentioned companies that they've never worked with before. So that was the first original red flag for me, where a crypto project mentions companies that they are apparently partners with, but in reality they're not. That's a massive red flag for me. And even if it's, they've lied on one partnership, it's still one lie that shouldn't be there, in my point of view. So the first time I went on their website, they said that they're working with the NHS. On their partner section, XRP Healthcare put NHS. And the NHS doesn't even know who XRP Healthcare is. Second, if I want to, the point about XRP healthcare is, as far as I'm aware, it's supposed to be used for medication purposes and to help the medication scene of XRP getting involved. But the point that I don't see is that I can just use XRP, for example, to buy medication. I can use XRP to buy hospital equipment if I wanted to. Why would I need to buy XRP healthcare to go that route when I can just use XRP itself? So the point about XRP healthcare never made sense. Their business model just doesn't make sense in general at all, because I can just use XRP to buy medication. I can use XRP to buy hospital equipment if I wanted to. Why would I need to use XRP healthcare? So their business model makes no sense. They lied on their partnerships. It's just massive red flags all over the place, in my perspective, from my own due diligence. So it's a big red flag for me, XRP healthcare. I will never touch it. I will never go near it. Miles, has RLUSD gone live yet, brother? It hasn't, no. So RL, Ripple's stablecoin, in other words, RLUSD, Ripple's real US dollar stablecoin, it hasn't went live yet. So a few nights ago on this live show, I revealed to everybody that Ripple has put 4 new pages on their website. One was for Ripple's stablecoin. So I was the first one to pretty much report on it. I said Ripple's set up 4 pages on their, essentially, their own website. One is for Ripple's stablecoin. One is for Ripple's business models on regarding XRP and custodians and so on. One is for neobanks, and one is for small businesses and medium-sized businesses. So Ripple set up 4 pages. I revealed this about 4 nights ago on this live show. And then now, today, everybody's posting about Ripple's put RUSD on their website. But I revealed this 4 nights ago. Now, what they've posted on their website is just an indication of what's going to happen next. They haven't really released their stablecoin yet, but it is obviously coming, because they have published on their website, and they've put a link, a section where you can type in your name, you can type in your email address, and receive updates if you want to about Ripple stablecoin. So yes, the page is there. No, they haven't launched, but you can't, put in your email address on Ripple's website on the section for Real USD and receive live updates on how far the progress is. Already posted. Let's go. Thank you, Dennis. Dennis posted it. Thank you, Dennis, for posting the YouTube version of this live show. XRP healthcare is a scam. Yes, I agree completely. Complete scam. Yes, full of fake. Yeah, definitely partnerships. What's up, Miles and CMF Bone Crusher? Good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Good to know. Thank you, Miles. No problem, Brian. Anytime. Morning, Miles and CMF. Shelly, good to see you as well. How you doing, Shelly? How you been? And also, thank you so much to everybody that's been retweeting this live show. Thank you so much to right at the beginning of the live show as well. Thank you so much to everybody that's been retweeting the live show. Thanks so much to everybody that's been liking the live. I just saw Shelly's retweets on the live show, and JP, and so many people. So thank you so much to every single one of you. And right at the beginning of the live show, thank you so much to Glenda for the $100 donation to the CMF hedge fund. Absolutely amazing. So, I thank so much to everyone on YouTube as well for liking the live show as well. US Bitcoin spot is the first news we're going to go from tonight's live show. The US spot Bitcoin ETFs see the biggest single day outflow in 90 days. The 12 spot Bitcoin exchange trade funds in the US logged their biggest single day outflows on Friday, August 2nd, since May over 90 days period. The total daily outflows level on August 2nd was $237.45 million, the highest since May 1st, $563.77 million outflows, and the 4th highest single day outflows since the launch of the spot Bitcoin ETFs in January, according to SoSo Value data. Grayscale's recently launched their Bitcoin mini trust, was one of the only 2 ETFs to log an inflow, netting a modest $9.88 million in additional funds. You see, essentially when Grayscale offers their 0.15% fee for Bitcoin ETFs, money comes start inflowing, but when Grayscale offers their 2.5 on a manipulation scale, nobody enters it. BlackRock's IBIT, the other ETF on the positive side, saw inflows of nearly $43 million. However, these inflows are offset by over $100 million in outflows from Fidelity's FBTC, about $81 million from ARK Invest, and 21 shares ARKB, and sub $50 million outflows from Grayscale, GBTC, Bitwise's BIT, and VanEck Hold. The remaining 5 funds logged no changes. Through the single day outflows, figures was large. The total volume traded was hardly out of the ordinary. The total net assets value of all the ETFs combined still remains near historical highs, though Bitcoin's price has continued to slide towards the $60,000 mark. Ether ETFs log a modest outflow as well, while the 9-spot Ethereum ETFs currently on the US market logged a $54 million outflow. That sum is actually the smallest single-day outflow level since during the short time these funds have been on the market. That's so far, according to social value data. However, the total net assets held in funds is currently at its all-time lowest level at $8.33 billion, a significant decrease from the maximum of $10.24 billion achieved on the first day of trading. The bulk of outflows, $61 million, came from Grayscale's ETH, which also brags the highest net asset values across spot Ethereum ETFs at $6 billion. The total volume traded across the Ethereum ETFs was also at their second lowest yet recorded on Friday at $438 million, a far cry from the $2.34 billion traded on Bitcoin's ETF site. In a very simplified version, the Bitcoin ETFs haven't been rattled that much. I mean, they've had 4 bad days and the rest was good days. And the Ethereum ETFs had 1 bad day. So on the corporate section side, which is mostly the ETF side, it's been smooth riding, smooth sailing. So while the market has been sliding, the corporate section are still going into Bitcoin ETFs. And I'll explain why once we get to a particular other set of news regarding a perspective coming from BlackRock. But before we go to that news, the next news to go from tonight's live show is regarding quantum computing. Quantum computing is something that's been heavily worked upon in China. And China recently had a massive breakthrough, which I revealed on this live show, which caught the attention of the US, the UK, and the EU. So China had a massive breakthrough on how to get the computing power up and running at max scale and using less energy than possible. And they released the paper studies, and the UK, the US, and the EU were very impressed. So they partnered together, not China. UK, US, and the EU partnered together to go up against China. And it seems like very quickly, Germany has also had a breakthrough on quantum computing as well, straight after China having a breakthrough. Before we go through that news, let's go inside the comment section first. Good evening, Miles and CMF Free Feather. Good to see you as well. How you doing? We have an awesome family. Let's go, Scott. Facts. I agree. Hello, Miles and CMF. Lena, good to see you as well. How you doing, Lena? How you been? So, Germany. Breakthrough quantum computing research out of Germany could lead to a revolution in particle physics, with implications for finance, economics, and cryptocurrencies. It might be time for firms in the crypto industry to add chief science officers and particle scientists and physicians to their portfolios. Much like the tech industry before it, crypto has bootstrapped itself on a virtue of its own feats of engineering and innovation. The engineering and innovation it took to invent blockchain and cryptocurrencies are arguably the advent of personal computing and the internet. Over the past 20 years, however, the tech industry has shifted towards a hard science. Perhaps it's time for crypto to follow suit. Amazon, IBM, Google, Microsoft, and Meta all have quantum computing laboratories. Some of the most important researchers in the field of physics and quantum computing have outbig the tech labs as well. The realization of time crystals in a quantum processor in 2021, for example, happened primarily in Google Labs, and both Microsoft and IBM contributed to pushing the boundaries of quantum advantages in their own labs. Quantum advantage. In their August 2nd paper titled Quantum Advantage and Sustainability to Errors in Analog Quantums, a team of researchers from the Max Planck Institution for Quantum Optics demonstrated a path to quantum advantages over what's called for mainly a broad model problem. Quantum advantages is a non-scientific term referring to something that a quantum computer can do that a classical binary computer either couldn't do or could do much more quicker. The researchers in Germany did a quantum stepping regarding, according to their peer-reviewed research, is theoretically capable of demonstrating clear quantum advantages in their areas of many body problems. Most significantly, their particular architecture would mitigate errors of one of the quantum computer's biggest outstanding problems. Okay, why is quantum computing, quite important while we're talking about blockchain, while the world is moving over to the digital sector? Well, quantum computing in the right hands could be extremely positive for cryptocurrencies. It could definitely help revolutionize blockchain technology. Quantum computing could definitely help revolutionize AI technology. It can also revolutionize the mining sector regarding Bitcoin as well, which was discussed many times by high-profile executives. But also on the wrong hands, it could go very south as well. But they are definitely having massive breakthroughs on quantum computing, which could be the next stage for blockchain technology to massively take off, in other words. So we're having massive breakthroughs around the world. Not just China's having breakthroughs, but Germany quickly had the breakthrough as well, after essentially China's study test papers. So that's what the simplified version is. It's very positive for cryptocurrencies, very positive for blockchain, very positive for Bitcoin mining, and very positive for AI technology to help advance it to a whole nother scale. Now, US voters. Here's a perspective from Mike Novoscott, and let's see if you agree. So I'm not going to give my perspective until everybody gives their perspective on this. So everybody listen up. This is a perspective from Mike Novoscott on politics, on essentially politicians. US voters no longer fancy old politicians. Mike Novoscott says, the United States political landscape keeps getting heated. The Kamala Harris and Donald Trump face off as the elections draws closer. Ever since Vice President Harris officially joined the race as Democrats' National Committee nominee, she has received a mixed support of disapproval. Mike Novoscott recently made a statement that suggests he might support her. Mike Novoscott hints at support for Harris. Galaxy Digital CEO, a billionaire essentially, Mike Novoscott, gave an idea of what the United States voters want in this current election cycle during a podcast he did. He made it clear that Americans yearn for a younger leaders as they are tired of the old politicians. Mike Novoscott described old politicians as those who are around 80 years old of age, citing precisely that 83% of Americans are done with them. That 83% of Americans don't want old politicians anymore. They want younger generation inside of politics. This percentage is quite high and very rare according to Mike Novoscott. Currently, there are 4 candidates competing for the position of the 47th United States president. Recent DNC nominee Kamala Harris is 59 years old. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump is 78 years old. Candidate Chase Oliver is 38 years old. And finally, independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is 70 years old. It is quite obvious that Trump is the oldest of the 4, is what Mike Novoscott is saying, not my perspective, Mike Novoscott's perspective. It is quite obvious that Trump is the oldest of the 4 and is likely the target of Mike Novoscott's statements. In addition, Mike Novoscott made it clear that he is watching out for Kamala Harris. He also said, we're going to know who Kamala Harris is and how she's going to run the next 8 weeks, Galaxy Digital CEO said, adding that he would withhold his judgment until that time. In my perspective, Mike Novoscott has not held his judgment. In fact, he released his judgment on this podcast, in my point of view. Still, he believes that she has the capacity to win the election. For or against Kamala Harris, question mark. Mike Novoscott is yet to outrightly declare his support for Kamala Harris, but his statements precede him. A few days ago, he took it upon himself to advise the DNC nominee about strongly standing against Senator Elizabeth Warren. I fully understand. If you want to stand against Senator Elizabeth Warren, I fully understand. She's absolutely useless. All she has done is, essentially stifle crypto and blockchain innovation inside the United States. At this pace, his endorsements is likely to come soon, probably in 8 weeks' time, like essentially he has mentioned. One of Kamala Harris's current critics is Peter. If you don't know who Peter is a massive critic of blockchain technology. He's always said, essentially Bitcoin is going to go to zero, this is going to do this and that. He's always been very negative. Interesting enough, Peter, who is negative on blockchain technology, is negative also on Kamala Harris in a very interesting way, because Kamala Harris, so far we know that she's anti-crypto. She's been anti-crypto for 4 years. And Peter, who's also anti-crypto, went against her. The notorious anti-Bitcoin financial investor with the United States stock market facing a downtrend, Peter believes that the presidential candidate has a part to play in it. According to Peter, Kamala Harris has a massive role that's just played inside the stock market. So essentially the stock market, the economy crashing inside the United States, Peter is blaming all of this on Kamala Harris. In the meantime, Kamala Harris is trying to adapt a crypto policy, but her effort is meeting with obstructions. What is your perspective? Do you agree with Mike Novoscott? That's two questions, actually. Do you agree with Mike Novoscott that we need younger generation inside of politics in terms of prime ministers, presidents, or in terms of congressmen and congresswomen and senators? Do we need a younger generation in politics? So do you agree with Mike Novoscott? We need a whole new generation of politicians that are young, or the candidates we have are perfectly fine, the other way? And do you agree with Peter that the reason why the US economy is going downhill is because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris abused the economy, and that's why the economy is doing incredibly bad for itself? Do you agree with Peter that the reason why the US economy is doing incredibly bad is because of Kamala Harris and the Biden administration? And do you agree with Mike Novoscott that we need a younger generation of group of people inside of all politicians, presidents, prime ministers, congressmen, congresswomen, senators? They should all be younger generation. So, do you agree with Mike Novoscott, younger generation, or do you agree with with Peter that everything that's happened so far is Biden administration's fault? Which I agree with Peter. It's definitely the Biden administration's fault for the entire downfall, the entire downstream of the US economy. Yes, obviously, he's been president for 4 years and done absolutely nothing. He started more wars than anyone possible. He's funded random wars when his own country's economy is doing incredibly bad. It's just common sense at that point. But what about the other one? Do you agree? Younger generation and politicians? I want to know some perspectives on the matter. Let's see if Peter is right, or if Mike Novoscott is right, or if both of them are right, or both of them are wrong. Carol, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Not me. I don't like the new younger generation. I like Trump. Let's go, G. That's a good perspective. Everybody's entitled, to have a perspective. Well, I do like the younger generation. I just don't like a lot of them being woke, and a lot of them don't know how good it used to be, which is also facts. I'll take Trump as president with a new team in Congress. Trump is tough, and that is what we need for younger generation backing him. I agree. On the whole matter of we need younger politicians, only if the younger generation understood how politics works, then sure. The younger generation that we have right now, I don't think the majority understand how the political field even works in any sort of way, which is my perspective. So do we need younger politicians? 50-50 on that matter. Yes and no. If we have somebody who's capable of understanding how economies work, how to operate a country, has decent policies, and knows how to implement those policies, that's all that matters. The age doesn't really matter. It's about the person that's chosen as the next president or prime minister of a country, understanding how economy works, understanding how to essentially bring policies in that will benefit their own jurisdictions rather than other countries. Those are things that matter in my point of view. Now, Van Eyck CEO made a very, very extremely bold prediction. And his bold prediction is this. So Van Eyck CEO makes Bitcoin price prediction. He said, I believe it will come to half the market cap of gold, and that will drive the price up. This is a perspective coming from Van Eyck's CEO, that Bitcoin is going to reach half the market cap of gold, and it's going to drive the price up. Van Eyck CEO perspective. We're going to go through that, but before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first. Okay, let's see where we were. I'll take voting for Peter. Voting for Peter. I agree, but I think Trump should take over, fix it, and then make it into a law that younger, like Vivek, can take over. Vivek is a good candidate as well. What's more important for me is the candidate's connection to US and world affairs, integrity and honesty, and fresh perspectives. Most politicians are crooked and pander to the lobbyists. I agree 100% with Brian. Question one, they would have to clean house. Question one, they would have to clean the house entirely for that to happen, because the older politicians will never let them, let that happen. Question two, that's obvious. You just have to look at it. Yes, I agree with JP as well. Biden made a lot of mistakes, and I wanted him out. Trump likewise made a lot of mistakes, and I don't want him back. Fair enough, Scott. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. We need people in office that knows how it feels to struggle. I like that. I like that a lot. And we have a lot of conservatives in our family. I am a fair enough, Scott. Look, everybody's entitled to opinion, and everybody's got different opinions going on, which I love about it. Regarding the CMF, it's nice to see that everyone's got different opinions and perspectives, and everybody's respecting each other's opinions and perspectives. So let's go CMF. Now, what do politicians and lawyers have in common? They lie. I agree. I agree regarding politicians and lawyers. Now, Vanik CEO. In a recent statement, Vanik's CEO, Jan van Eyck, predicted a significant increase in the value of Bitcoin, predicting that Bitcoin will eventually reach half of the total market value of gold and reach a price of approximately $350,000 per Bitcoin. Van Eyck cited the Fed's easing policies as a catalyst for the growth of both gold and Bitcoin. He expressed strong beliefs in Bitcoin's maturity and potential to become a significant asset comparable to gold. About a year ago, he said, I started emphasizing that once the Fed started to ease monetary policies, it will be beneficial for both gold and Bitcoin, Van Eyck said. Bitcoin is growing and will eventually reach half the total market cap of gold, which is around 350,000. He also talked about the possibility of Bitcoin reaching even higher values if the central banks adapt Bitcoin as a part of their monetary systems. He said super bulls believe that if central banks adapt Bitcoin and it becomes a part of the monetary system, its value could reach millions, Van Eyck said. And he also added that, but I prefer not to focus on those speculative figures. Van Eyck, who manages a variety of ETFs from fixed income to consumer cycles, also shared his views on his personal investment strategies. He strongly believes in the long-term strategy and trends and notes that Bitcoin is increasingly being adopted. He said, I believe Bitcoin is becoming as widely accepted as gold, and I see that as a clear trend now. So that is the perspective from Van Eyck's CEO, that essentially him stating that Bitcoin is going to be reaching half the valuation in terms of market cap when it comes to gold. And he does see it going higher, but he said, let's not go into speculative areas regarding the central banks adapting Bitcoin. And he said the area that he's speaking about, essentially Bitcoin being adapted by corporation sectors moving forward, essentially, that could reach half the market cap of gold. The banks, the centralized banks adapting Bitcoin, he said that's much more of a speculative area, but if it does happen, it go much more higher. Yes, it would do if it does happen. Now, on the matter of Van Eyck's CEO that's saying that's a speculative area on banks adapting Bitcoin into a monetary system, I agree it is a speculative area, but also one country has rejected the idea. So the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, actually came out, their central bank came out and said that they are not going to be using Bitcoin or Ethereum in terms of their central banks. So the central bank of the UAE actually did say about a few nights ago that they're not going to be using Bitcoin and Ethereum, but they said it's perfectly legal tender. If people want to use it inside their country, they can use Bitcoin and Ethereum on some sort of a legal tender basis. The population can use Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's green lighted, but they said the central bank of the UAE is only going to focus and use CBDCs. They said the central bank of the UAE is only going to be using central bank digital currencies, and it's going to be provided from a third party. But they said they will not be using Bitcoin or Ethereum, the central bank of the UAE said. But he said everybody else inside the UAE can use Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's perfectly fine, and they're both green lighted. But the central bank is not going to be using it in any form of legal tender. They're only going to be using CBDCs. So on Van Eyck's CEO coming out and saying central banks using Bitcoin as a monetary system, it definitely is a speculative area, which also one bank has rejected. And they said they're only going to be using CBDCs. And perfect timing on whoever ELBEY just mentioned. He said XRP. I agree. There's, as I said previously, there are 24,000 crypto projects, 24,000 different crypto projects, and only one has a CBDC platform that's being used. Only one has multiple CBDC awards. Only one is on a Bank of International Settlements PDF document titled cross-border payments, and only one crypto project is also done multiple talks with the World Economic Forum, and which is XRP. So I agree, yes. And with the UAE bank, centralized bank, also stating that the CBDC is going to be provided from a third party. That means the central bank of the UAE is not going to be creating the CBDC, and a third party is. We can take a guess of who the third party is, especially since Ripple and XRP has been approved as a, believe it or not, as a halal project. XRP in the Middle East has been approved as a, under Sharia law, basically. It's been green-lighted under Sharia law to be used. Sorry, not halal, Sharia law. It's been under Sharia law as a green light project. The Central Bank of Bahrain did a study test, and they came out and said XRP, there's a PDF document, public information from the Central Bank of Bahrain, that XRP under Sharia law basically is a green light. And after they announced that, back-to-back centralized banks in the UAE, in the Middle East, so Bahrain, after they announced that, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, they all announced pretty much Ripple as a green light. This was a while ago. I can send that document to anyone that wants it as well, a PDF document. Mike, good to see you. How you doing? We have a lot. I don't know how the younger generation's brains work. Let's go, Troy. Mike, good to see you. How you doing? I agree with Scott. Let's go, Carol. XRP. Let's go. My bike's all packed, bro. Let's go, SP. Good info. Let's go, SP. So, Senator Luminous Bitcoin Reserve Act of 2024. Something that was mentioned by Trump at the Bitcoin National event, that Bitcoin should be used as, for reserve purposes, for reserve asset purposes inside the United States to fix the US debt solution. And then Senator Luminous took that, what Trump said, and turned it into the Bitcoin Act, which I revealed a few nights ago as well. Now, it seems like massive support is behind this bill. So, Senator Luminous' Bitcoin Reserve Bill gathered public support. Senator Cynthia Luminous, also known as the Crypto Queen of Congress, has proposed a groundbreaking bill to establish a reserve Bitcoin fund for the United States government. According to Dennis Porter's post on X, the bill has gathered substantial public support, evidenced by the fact that over 2,200 letters have been sent to the US senators within just 48 hours, urging them to co-sponsor and endorse this street Bitcoin reserve legislation. About 2,200 letters of support have been sent to the US senators. In another post, Senator Luminous expressed her gratitude to everyone who took the time to send letters supporting the Bitcoin Reserve Bill inside the United States. Notably, the letter was distributed among senators from different political affiliations, showcasing the interest in the proposal. Dennis Porter revealed that the Democrats received the highest number of letters, totaling 1,333, while Republicans received 850 letters, and independents even received 41 letters. This distribution reflects a wide-ranging appeal and a shared interest in the exploring of potential of Bitcoin as a national reserve asset, mainly to pay off the national debt, basically, of the United States. Meanwhile, the proposed Bitcoin Reserve Fund aims to position the United States as the forefront of the evolving global financial landscape. Also, proponents argue that establishing a reserve fund in Bitcoin could hedge against inflation, and that enhancing the country's financial security and signal a forward-thinking approach to economic policies. Senators Luminous delved into Bitcoin mining landscapes as well. Senator Luminous delved into the evolving landscapes of Bitcoin mining, noting the emergence of innovative approaches to energy generations by Bitcoin miners. She highlighted two main, essentially, of the points regarding Bitcoin mining: grid stabilization through utility scale operations and energy harvesting. Senator Luminous remarks shed light on the strategic interplays between politics and cryptocurrency regulations, emphasizing the pivotal role of upcoming elections in shaping the trajectory of crypto policies inside the United States. Senator Luminous advocates against tax on Bitcoin miners. Recall that last month, Senator Luminous released a report that argued against Biden's mining tax. Now, Biden is thinking about introducing a massive First, he thought about introducing a 40% tax on Bitcoin mining institutions, 40% tax. And then he brought it down to 30%. So she also shared a report revealing that the environmental and economic benefits of the Bitcoin mining infrastructures to the United States energy grid. These facilities, which represent a large, flexible electronic loads, can be instrumental in balancing and essentially redistributing energy during peak demand periods. However, Senator Luminous, criticized the government's 30% excessive tax on energy consumed by the Bitcoin miners. She said that Biden administration's dangerous scheme to tax Bitcoin miners is a blatant attack on innovation, energy abundance, and American excellence. One of the key agreements of the Luminous report is that proposed 30% tax would harm the environment by discouraging Bitcoin miners from pursuing sustainable energy sources and energy recycling techniques, which is true. Regarding the Bitcoin mining situation, so governments have been, trying to tax quite heavily Bitcoin miners. And in the US, also, the Biden administration thought it was a good idea to tax Bitcoin mining institutions, 40% tax, and then they brought it down to 30% tax. And the point they're trying to make is if you pay 30% tax on Bitcoin mining institutions, all of a sudden, the pollution is fixed in terms of the grid solution is fixed and it's much more renewable. So the more tax you pay, somehow, the better it is for the environment, because that's just how things work. The more money you pay on tax, the better the environment becomes, the better the weather becomes, the better the grid solution becomes. And there was actually a study test done regarding Bitcoin mining and how much it really affects the world in terms of electricity being used. And Bitcoin mining was not even a 2% type of solution, 2% type of situation, not even a 5% type of situation. It was right about 1 point something in terms of electricity being used by Bitcoin mining institutions. So relatively lower than everything else. But according to the Biden administration, or according to a lot of jurisdictions out there, if you pay a lot of tax, you can save the planet. Because obviously, the more tax you pay, the weather just suddenly becomes better. Global warming suddenly stops because you paid more tax. But then a lot of people would argue and say, yes, if you pay more tax, the government puts more solar panels, the government puts more wind turbines and so on. No, they don't. If you take the amount of tax money governments have received and add up the amount of wind turbines or solar panels that are around the world, no, they don't. So for anybody out there thinking, well, yes, you paid more tax money and the government creates more solar panels, they put more wind turbines. Add up the amount of tax money paid in a 1 year period of any country, and then look at how many wind turbines or solar panels that country has. So if you're wondering, they spend that money to save the planet, no, they don't. But yeah, global warming has always been an interesting topic, because how the weather works is the more tax you pay. You pay more tax, the weather becomes better. You pay more tax, the weather is less polluted. It's just how it works. How does everybody not know this? It's like a vending machine. When you swipe your card, if you ever tried it, genuinely, if you swipe your bank card in the sky, it taxes you, and then suddenly the weather gets sunny. That's how the government explains it. Now, exposed truth is the next topic we're going to talk about on tonight's live show. Exposed truth behind WorldCoin's money, free money. A very long time ago on this live show, I reviewed a crypto project called WorldCoin, where WorldCoin were scanning people's eyes with an orb. So people lined up in massive queues, and then people went to essentially scan their eyeballs, and they received a wallet from WorldCoin by scanning their eye. and WorldCoin would give them free tokens. In this world, nothing's for free. Just, if you're still, thinking about, even in 2024, you're still thinking to yourself, something is free out there. It isn't. It's never free when it comes from the government. There's always a catch. Just keep that in mind. It's never free when it comes from a massive corporation. Always keep that in mind as well. There's always a catch involved. So people were scanning their eyeballs for some free $40 vouchers of WorldCoin tokens, and massive amounts of people were lining up. They did WorldCoin events in Hong Kong. They did WorldCoin events in Singapore, in African nations, in European nations, and so on. It was a worldwide type of solution going on, and they were doing it everywhere, in every region, scanning people's eyeballs, giving them $40. What people were doing actually was selling their data before they enter a digital world for $40, is what I said right at the beginning. So after I mentioned those things right at the beginning, some countries did, essentially, not by listening to me, but some countries came to the conclusion that they should, not let WorldCoin scan any more of their users' eyeballs. And it also come to the point where WorldCoin was getting sued. A particular country has taken it a step further. So some nations were suing WorldCoin for scanning their public's eyeballs, giving them wallets and giving out $40 vouchers and so on. But one particular company has taken it much more further. And this is what they said. Ecuador. Ecuador has done, you could say, a mini documentary and exposing WorldCoin. The truth behind WorldCoin's free money in Ecuador. In Ecuador, the cryptocurrency project WorldCoin has gained traction. So they decided to launch in Ecuador. If you don't know WorldCoin, they decided to launch there, and it did. There were massive, queues of people waiting in line to scan their eyeballs for some free tokens. So in Ecuador, the cryptocurrency project WorldCoin has gained massive attraction, and by distributing a universal basic income in the form of world tokens to thousands of residents. This development unfolds as local government authorities admit their incapacity to probe the company's compliance with Ecuadorian law due to resource constraints. Fabio Ruiz, the essentially superintendent of data protection of Ecuador, has openly expressed the challenge faced by his agency in the investigation whether WorldCoin adheres to national regulations. His statements highlights a significant gap in the governmental oversight and the rapidly evolving digital currency domain. The distribution events in Ecuador have attracted large crowds from many cities. A new key economic hub. Hundreds have gathered at the WorldCoin facilities to participate. These facilities feature orbs, a digital orb, a sophisticated device designed to scan the iris of individuals, their eyeballs, in other words. Social media reports and images from locals like Alfredo show lines of modestly, essentially dressed individuals waiting to exchange their biometric data for cryptocurrencies. People were giving up their data for $40 vouchers. Now, you see, what happened when the WorldCoin launched in Germany is Germany kicked them out straight away, because they realized that their citizens were selling their data for $40 vouchers for WorldCoin to WorldCoin. So Germany kicked them out straight away. And a lot of European jurisdictions kicked WorldCoin out completely. And African nations decided to essentially sue them, some parts as well. But what WorldCoin decided to do was go to countries that are not doing too well, because it's easier to set up there and to scan people's eyeballs, because they know that people in Ecuador are not doing economically too well for themselves, and $40 goes a very long way. So what WorldCoin decided to do was not go to well-established countries, because going into well-established countries made them either get sued or kicked out. So they decided to pick on countries that are a bit weak on economic sides, and go there, give out $40 vouchers and scan people's eyeballs and get their data for $40 before we go fully into a digital world. According to the social media accounts, more than 300 people convened at the WorldCoin location in essentially last Monday. And according to the social media accounts, many were to receive 13 world tokens valued at approximately $1.98 each, summing up to around $30. So when WorldCoin started, they were giving out $40 vouchers. Now they're giving out $30 vouchers to sell your data. This exchange rate aligns with the current valuation listed on CoinMarketCap. WorldCoin initially offers 60 tokens to new users, which currently equates to $117 as well. In exchange for scanning my eyeball with an ARP machine, I was given 13 WorldCoins worth $29.59, which were credited to the digital wallet I created for this purpose, said a 19-year-old, according to the media outlet. The same source pointed out that the first users received 60 tokens, equivalent to, at this time, $117. The allure of quick money has persuaded many, including migrants and local impoverished populations, to participate, some driven by the necessity to see this as an opportunity for minor financial relief, because WorldCoin is now picking on countries that are not doing too well economy, and they know that their people are desperate for some sort of cash, and they're getting people's data for $40. Just to keep in mind, the further we go into a digital world, 2024 being when the world starts, essentially going over into a digital world, with all the regulations in place in 2024, and the CBDCs that are going on, the banks and corporations getting involved in 2024. So as we go further into a digital world, data, your data, individual data, is going to be more valuable than oil. Just to keep that in mind. Your individual data in a digital world is going to be more valuable over time than oil. And WorldCoin is going to essentially, they started doing this in well-established countries, giving out free money tokens, $40 vouchers of WorldCoin, and getting people's data. For $40, people were selling their data because people don't understand. There's never such thing as a free money. There's always a catch. But now they're doing it in countries that are doing not too well in economy-wise, and people are lining up because they're saying $40 can do a lot of things for them in their own countries. So the lure of quick money has persuaded many individuals, migrants, and local populations to participate. Some driven by necessity see it as an opportunity for financial relief. However, not all are eager to trade their personal data. The smart individuals obviously decided to not sell their personal data at such a low discounted value. A few have declined, stating that privacy concerns and unwillingness to sell their information for cash. These are smart people. Amidst the mixed reactions from the public, the concern over data privacy grows. WorldCoin's initiatives essentially interested directly from the functions of Data Protection Superintendent's Officer, and was pointed out by Ecuador as well. He also noted that WorldCoin aims to use this collected data to enhance an artificial intelligence algorithm that could identify real humans on the internet. This component adds another layer of controversy to a project stringing public data about the ethical implications of such data collection practices. Despite the superintendent's reservations and essentially the public skepticism, the lack of resources means that investigations of the WorldCoin operations remains stalled. This situation poses questions about the balance between technological advancements and privacy rights, a debate that is becoming increasingly relative as digital currencies become more integrated into daily lives. So, WorldCoin once again has come under the fire for buying people's data and selling them for $40. Do you know what's wrong with projects like WorldCoin? Is that they're not honest at all. WorldCoin says, come, sign up for WorldCoin, scan your eye, and get $40 vouchers for World Token. But that's a lie. What they should be saying is, come, sign up, scan your eye, sell your data to us for $40, and that's it. And I'll bet you any money, nobody would be standing in that queue. Unless you really need $40. But if they told people the truth of, your data is incredibly powerful in a digital world, moving over to a digital world, your data is going to be more valuable than oil. And they're buying people's data for $40 because they know the people that are lining up need that money. So how pathetic is how pathetic is WorldCoin, in my opinion? Very. They're taking advantage of people that need money and buying their data for $40. Those people don't realize it yet, but the further we go into a digital world, they just sold their data for $40. They will realize their big mistake later on in life. Now, economist Raoul Paul on crypto, on the crypto plunge. He said basically literally nothing. Regular day in the trenches. According to Raoul Paul, what we're experiencing inside the crypto space is pretty much the usual. It's basically what I said yesterday on this live show. I said that they're throwing the word recession around too often now, especially on the news, before the new Fed reports come out. They're saying we're going into a recession, 2008 crash, and so on and so on. And I said, if they do that, it's going to look very bad for the Biden administration and so on. And it's bad for them going into voting. So I don't think they will ever do that to themselves, is what I said. And I said that we're not going to be going into some sort of recession, and they're just trying to distract you on that basis and try to panic you out of the market is what's really going on. Also, what's going on again is World War III. The topic of World War III is starting again. Never going to happen. I said this as well a long time ago. When the world was talking about we're going to go into World War III, the UK needs more soldiers, the US needs more soldiers, Russia's going to attack. Everybody was making videos online. Do you remember that part? Do you remember the beginnings of 2024? Everybody was making videos on social media. Oh, I'm not joining the army. They can't make me join the army. I was the only one saying there's no such thing as World War III. It's never going to happen. I said no country is dumb enough to go into war with each other, because World War III technically means end of the world. Every country is as powerful as the next now. We're not fighting with sticks and stones. It's more like press a button, everybody goes to dust. And why would they do that to themselves? Obviously, they don't care about the population, let's just be honest, but the governments care about themselves. So why would everybody go to dust? World War III means end of the world, okay? World War III is never going to happen, but it was a good distraction. Everybody was distracted for a while on the World War III topic, because we shifted over from the COVID topic to the World War III topic. It's just, the news is like the weather, it just keeps on changing. It just keeps on changing. And they're good distractions, without a doubt. Very good distractions. And I was the only one with God's given I say God has given everybody common sense. People should use common sense once in a while. So on that basis, the topic of World War III is coming back again. And people are falling for it again. Do you know what else I've always said? That history will always repeat itself. Do you know why I've always said history will always repeat itself? It's because people are forgetful. People are very forgetful. And I said history will always repeat itself. So once again, the topic of World War III is brewing. Oh no, we're going into World War III again. The same trick of distraction they used before is being used again. And why is it working quite well as a distraction? Because history will repeat itself, because people are forgetful. So the topic of World War III is brewing. So the market's going into that disruption. The market's going into that panic mode. Is a World War III going to start? Is Iran going to start a war? Is Israel going to start? And so on and so on. Not going to happen. And topic of World War III, it's never going to happen. So the other situation that's going on is the recession. The topic of recession is creating so much panic and fear in the market. Are we going to go to a 2008 crash? No. Why? Because we're going into elections. Do you think, even for a second, the Biden administration is going to, make the country go into a 2008, essentially recession, a full-on recession, and whilst going into voting? Do you know how bad that makes the Biden administration campaign look? Extremely bad. It means that they did absolutely nothing for 4 years, which they really didn't, and now the country is in an absolute toilet hole, basically, what it means. So they're not going to be going into a recession. But here is what I said about the war situation. I'll repeat what I said again for this situation, which is, I said that they will make it look like we are going into a war. Okay, I said this. I said that back then, beginning of 2024, I said they will make it look like we're going to go into a war. So people get distracted. And I'm saying it again. They're going to make it look like we're going to go into a recession. Make it look like. To create the fear and panic inside the market space. Do you know what's happening as people are panicking from the retail section? Oh no, recession. Oh no, 2008 crash. Do you know what's happening on that basis? So while the retail section is focused off, no, 2008 again, The corporate section is entering the crypto markets. And guess what? The retail section is opening up space for the corporate section. Remember, 2024 is about regulations, banks, and corporations. There are many crypto platforms out there right now that are positioning themselves. And you know what most of these crypto platforms have said? The next wave of crypto investors are not the retail section. It's the corporate section, the institutional section. So while people go into a full panic mode of crashing of 2008 situation and the retail section opens up space, the corporate section essentially comes through. The next clientele entering the crypto market are institutional clients. This was mentioned by BlackRock, it was mentioned by Morgan Stanley, it was mentioned by essentially a few other executive and board members as well. And even crypto platforms, I'll name one, essentially BitGo has launched the BitGo network, it's for institutional clients. Morgan Stanley is launching 15,000 financial advisors on the 7th of this month. The 7th of this month, Morgan Stanley is launching on the 7th of this month, Morgan Stanley is launching 15,000 financial advisors. 15,000 financial advisors. They're opening their doors to essentially blockchain on Bitcoin ETFs and Ethereum ETFs and everything to do with ETFs and everything to do with blockchain. And they have 15,000 financial advisors ready to bring their most high profile clients inside the crypto space. 7th is this going to be starting. Now, does that mean on the 7th, the market is going to go shooting up? No. But they're going to be coming in is what matters. So while the retail section opens up space because they think the 2008 crash is on the way, they're getting pretty much ready to enter. And I said this in a very clear way. Why would essentially we be going into a 2008 crash? One, we're going into elections. That makes the Biden administration look bad. Even though the Biden administration is useless, it still makes them look bad going into elections if we're in a recession, because it makes them look like they did nothing. So that'd be bad for their votes. Two, 15,000 financial advisors from Morgan Stanley are greenlighting the idea of entering blockchain now, entering the crypto space now. Do you not think 15,000 financial advisors from Morgan Stanley can't tell we're going into a 2008 crash? Why would they enter now? So that's what I said. And some things that I also repeated a long time ago, but there's a lot of distractions going on right now. Also, the biggest distraction that's going on right now is that everybody's turning on each other in the world, if you have realized or not, but everybody's turning on each other in the world, which is another major distraction going on. So what I basically said a very long time ago, and what I repeated a few nights ago and yesterday, is now being repeated pretty much by Raoul Pal. So economist Raoul Pal on Crypto Plunge, he came out and said literally nothing. Regular day in the trenches. In other words, people are going to panic mode for no apparent reason. While more and more cryptocurrency traders and analysts are sharing bearish views on the current market phase, Raoul Pal says nothing to worry about. He also shared his views on meme coin performance as well, and unveiled whether his Solana bags are underwater. Raoul Pal shares sobering views on crypto drop. He says literally nothing is going on. Despite the net crypto capitalization being 5% down in the last 24 hours, there is literally nothing happening in the markets, economist Raoul Pal says to his 1 million followers on X. Comes back from dinner in Lisbon, checks X, losing his collective S. We are all going to die. It's all going to get nuked. It's all over, is what people are tweeting right now on the charts and the war situation. He said literally nothing is going on. Noise. Meanwhile, the cult of the Church of the Smoking Chicken Fish is at the new highs. As such, what is happening with Bitcoin and major altcoins looks like a regular day in trenches to seasoned macro experts. Also, Raoul Pal mentioned impressive performance, and also he said he added on this market that is nothing but noise in Pal's statements, where he echoed BitMEX founder Arthur Hayes' perspective as well, as covered by you today essentially as well. Arthur Hayes called the current day's shopping time. Arthur Hayes called what's going on right now shopping time, And Raoul Paul says a regular day in crypto. And Morgan Stanley is getting ready to enter with 15,000 financial advisors. And many other platforms are getting ready for the next wave, which is institutional clientele entering the crypto space due to the amount of regulations we have in every jurisdiction around the world. So while that is all going on, the retail section is going into panic mode. They're waiting for 2008 crash. The BitMEX founder attributed current volatility spikes to macro processes in the US and Japan. Is Bitcoin's cycle close to an end? Question mark. When asked about the performance of his Solana positions, the Real Vision CEO admitted that it entered the asset at $30. As such, he must be enjoying 400% profits. Even after Solana's lost over 20% in the last 5 days, he's still perfectly fine. However, as covered by UATD previously, some voices of crypto Twitter do not share the enthusiasm of Raoul Paul and Hayes. For instance, trader Henrik Zilberg said that there might be 2 months of short of the largest collapse since the 1929 Great Depression. There is another perspective going on inside the crypto space as well, which is we're going to go into the largest crash and collapse since the 1929 Great Depression. He lifted the deadline for the major macro top to this October. Also, a number of prominent traders insist that we will not see new highs for Bitcoin in the next 4 years. There are crypto traders out there that have came out and said that we are not going to see Bitcoin or the crypto markets at new highs for the next 4 years. I think that these particular, apparently seasoned crypto traders don't know all of the information, like Morgan Stanley's 15,000 financial advisors, or essentially Hong Kong actually thinking about establishing Bitcoin as a reserve asset. That Hong Kong's and Japan's biggest brokerage has just entered inside the field of Bitcoin ETFs. I don't think they're aware of any of these information. There's a lot more information out there as well. I could go on for days. I can list you a million different things that's going on around the world that none of these moronic traders are focused on. So before you go to panic mode, before you think we're going into the 1929 Great Depression, the person that said we're going to go into the 1929 Great Depression is probably the same person a while ago said we're going to go into World War III. They're the same people that said we're going to go into World War III. They're the same person that said the dollar's going to crash next month. They're the same people that always create these false information coming out just to create clickbait information, basically. But they don't realize that their clickbait information actually, damages some people. Some people actually read that information and go, wow, this must be genuine news. We're going into 1929 Great Depression, or we're going to go into World War III, which is never going to happen for either one. Because, again, in a very simple form, if you realized we're going into elections, if we go into a recession, not good for elections, especially not for the Biden administration, especially not for Kamala Harris. And why would they make Kamala Harris look bad? Because all they've done so far is make Kamala Harris look good. I mean, you have search engines changing information to make Kamala Harris look good, to make Trump look bad on purpose. So why would we go through a depression? Why would we go through a massive collapse on the markets? That will make this government running the show bad. That's not good for voting season. And two, the amount of people from the corporate sector entering the fields right now, yeah, these people are not fully aware of any information at all. So here's the thing. It's always good to consider multiple outcomes. Always good. But consider, legitimate outcomes that could happen, not speculative on large-scale outcomes. A World War III outcome happening is never going to happen. I'll just put that one out there. If anybody thinks World War III is going to break out, it's never going to break out. It never broke out a long time ago, and it's never going to break out now. It's just never going to happen. So a World War III outcome is out the equation. Forget about that outcome. The other outcome, could we go into a recession type of phase? No. But will they make it look like we're going into a recession to create more panic inside the market space, liquidate more traders on the progress? Yes, they'll make it look like we're going into a recession to liquidate more traders, to create more panic inside the market. But then you have to always look, for the other side. Whenever something major is happening and everybody's paying attention to it around the world, that's actually something else happening behind the scenes. So when everybody's focused on we're going into a 1929 depression, when everybody's focused on that, or we're going into World War III and everybody's focused on that, behind the scenes, we're going into CBDCs. Believe it or not, a lot of countries are actually launching in 2025, according to the Bank of International Settlements. They're doing their real payments and testings this year. And we're going into CBDCs, we're going into social credit systems. And what's actually happening in reality is massive riggings is what's going on. But we're having more regulations, more institutions, and more people from the corporation sector and banking sector inside the crypto field than ever before. We're going to have them towards the end of this year as well. So while everybody's focused on, as usual, everybody's distracted. Whenever it's focused on World War III, never going to happen. A recession of 1929 depression, never going to happen. And what's actually happening behind the scenes is more corporates, more banks, more regulations, CBDC, social credit systems. As everybody's distracted, just like usual. It's the usual play. Because people were expecting World War III at the beginning of this year. No? It was big news. Everybody said World War III, 2024 beginning was going to happen. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. It never happened. So, stop getting distracted and stop listening to clickbait videos claiming we're going to go into some ridiculous speculative areas. One, they'll make it look like. The same thing I said about the World War situation, I said they'll make it look like we're going to go into a World War III. And in reality, we're not. They create more panic and fear and distraction. So they're going to make it look like we're going to go into a depression type of situation to create more panic and fear. And then suddenly the market does a reversal because the Fed reports come out all clean and good. And the whole World War III situation, they can, pull strings on that again, make it look like we're going to go into World War III. Never going to happen, but a good distraction. And basically, Raoul Paul is repeating what I said yesterday and the beginning of this year as well. That just the usual. And in Raoul Paul's words, just the usual is happening inside the crypto space. And even in Arthur Hayes' words, also, it's shopping time. Just the usual. Nothing major. But I bet you any money, you've seen those videos of the influencers, they're creating these videos. Iran is going to do that. I'm just, for anybody that's new to this live show as well, I'm Persian. I'm fully Iranian. Obviously, I'm from the UK, but I'm fully Iranian. I'm Persian. And I'll tell you for a fact, Iran will never start a war. It will never start a war because Iran knows that it will be flattened. And I'm Iranian. Iran knows, the Iranian government knows, that if they start a war, they will be flattened. So therefore, Iran will never start a war. So if you're worried about Iran, because I've seen these influencers creating these videos, Iran's going to start World War III, Iran's going to stop the Hormuz oil, Iran's going to stop the gas of the world. Iran will do nothing. The Iranian government is scared right now. And especially after what recently happened in Iran, they're very scared. And I'll tell you from an Iranian perspective. I'm fully Iranian. I'll tell you from my perspective, they will never start a war. They will never start a war, an actual war. And they will never start World War III because they know for a fact that they will be flattened. And I'm talking about flat. There'll be no buildings, no nothing left if they start a war. So if you're worried about, watching these influencers, I've seen the influencer videos. Iran's going to stop the gas. Iran's going to stop the oil of the world. Iran's going to control the, the Hormuz Sea because everything has to go through there. Iran will do nothing. The Iranian government won't do that because they know that they will be completely removed from the planet. Now, and also if you didn't know, here's another perspective. Iran has two armies, okay? Iran has two armies. One is the government army and one is the people army. Okay, the people army is quite weak, so we're not going to talk about them, but they're quite weak. They're not getting the correct funding and so on. So Iran has another army, which is the government army. There are words going around in Iran. So this is news from inside, you could say, from Iran. There is massive words going around that the government Iranian army is slowly removing themselves from backing the Iranian government. The government army of Iran is slowly distancing themselves from the Iranian government. World War III, never gonna happen. Because they've even had enough of the Iranian government. Believe it or not. Now, the next perspective we're going to go through on tonight's live show is BlackRock. Honestly, everybody has had enough of the Iranian government. The Iranian government, they need to be removed. The Iranian government needs to be removed. If you remove them, the Middle East goes back to normal. And bring the Shah back. Bring the King of Iran back and his royal family. Now, before we go for the BlackRock news, let's go inside the comment section first. Do you think the SEC will settle? Let's see where I was actually. There we go. Do you think the SEC will settle because they said Cardano and Solana is not a security? Yes. So I recently shared the news that the SEC has decided to not pursue some sort of legal proceedings on over to the Binance situation, which, you know, they revealed that Cardano, Solana, File, and so many other tokens were securities previously in a Binance case. And then the SEC decided to pretty much change the case and, you know, so the judge doesn't rule in favor of Binance, because even the SEC knows that they're going to lose against Binance. So yes, they are slightly dropping cases. Is that an indication that they're going to be dropping the Ripple case? Could be. Not an actual indication. Miles, you might have to submit a support ticket to X, as it's still buffering on and off, lagging in place, not for everyone, but happening to a lot. Yeah, I should do. I'll look into it, definitely. Thank you, Shelly, for letting me know. Mike, let's go. So with the tax logic, why don't they tax donuts 75% and then all of a sudden the sugar and the fat content will disappear? Good perspective. What Happy Pisces is talking about is when I was talking about the, you know, the more tax you pay, the weather gets cleaner. Apparently that's how things work. And so Happy Pisces put, so with that logic, why don't they just tax donuts 75% and then all of a sudden the sugar of the fat and the content will disappear? Yep. I mean, they should. I mean, they, you know, their logic, the government's logic is interesting one, as always. 100% spot on, Miles. Let's go. And 100% spot on, Happy Pisces. We are so appreciative. We so appreciate your sarcasm, Miles. More tax, sunny days, and no pollution. Lol. Let's go, Storby. I am tired of my taxes increasing. I am taking care of those economically above me and those less fortunate. Fair tax code is all I seek. This isn't a political thing either. Yes, facts. I agree with Scott. Exactly as you said, Miles. Let's go, Denise. XNAR 1000X check once. I'll check it out after this live show. So they hired 15,000 new advisors. No, Morgan Stanley already has 15,000 advisors on board. XRP will rule all. XRP will rule them all. XRP is the only non-security as per the SEC. I've been waiting since 2017 for them to flip the switch. Let's go, crypto Lou XRP. Getting ready for another dip within 3 weeks, Miles. Let's go, Ian. It's just another day to load on up on my favorite currencies. Let's go, Brian. It's so rigged, the whole lot of it. Yes, facts. Shelly and facts. Brian, let's go. And what is the significance of October 17th? As I was told that it's a big date to watch out for, but I don't know. Significance of October 17th could be related to some sort of Fed deployments. World War III started 20 to 30 years ago, but people don't realize that. Exactly. Also, November 2025, Event Horizon. Do you know of these dates? I'll check them after the live show. Miles, you're on your soapbox tonight, lol. Wow, let's go, Troy. Let's go, Shelly. 100% Miles. In all reality, I think we've all had enough of our own governments. So true. Let's go. Now, BlackRock. BlackRock Samara Cohen predicts crypto ETFs to enter model portfolios by 2024 ending. Just to repeat that once again, BlackRock's Cohen predicted that crypto ETFs to enter model portfolios by 2024 ending. Remember, we're going to go into a recession apparently, but BlackRock's Cohen is predicting that we're going to be entering into more ETFs in terms of money. But CNN is saying we're going to a recession, so the influencers. In a Bloomberg interview on July 29th, Cohen discussed the current state of major financial institutions, including Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, UBS, in relation to onboarding and promoting crypto ETFs. Digital currencies backed by exchange-traded funds, ETFs, are expected to be integrated into model portfolios by the end of 2024, according to Samara Cohen, BlackRock's chief investment officer for ETFs and index investments. In a Bloomberg interview, Cohen discussed the current state of major financial institutions, including Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, and UBS, in relation to onboarding to promoting of crypto ETFs. And just to put it in perspective, this is BlackRock's chief investment officer doing an interview with Bloomberg. She mentioned that these institutions are now engaged in risk analysis and due diligence, particularly focusing on Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs within their portfolios. Cohen noted that what will happen towards the end of this year, this is BlackRock's chief investment perspective, what will happen towards the end of and into the next year is we will see allocations into model portfolios, which will give us a much more of a steer into how investors are using them. Model portfolios commonly offered by large brokerage firms, just that keyword there, large brokerage firms, getting ready for the end of this year. What just happened in Hong Kong and Japan? The largest brokerage firm just entered the crypto market. Commonly offered by large brokerage firms are diversified investment strategies that balance risk and return, providing investors with pre-designed templates or recipes for investing. Why are they doing this? Because the next wave of clientele inside the crypto space is institutional clientele. Even BlackRock is telling people this, but people aren't listening. According to BlackRock, starting now until the end of this year and into next year, we're going to have so many institutional clients inside the market space. And that is why large brokerage firms are opening their doors. So we have Japan and Hong Kong, largest brokerage firm, opening their doors, which they already have. And then on the other side, we also have Morgan Stanley with 15,000 financial advisors entering the field. Aren't we supposed to be going into a recession or a World War III? BlackRock anticipates that the management of model portfolios will grow from the current $4.2 trillion to $10 trillion over the next 5 years. Earlier in July, Samuel Raj, global head of iShares and index investments at BlackRock, commented on the growing trend, stating that it's going to be massive. BlackRock stating that it's going to be massive, and emphasizing the importance of essentially advisors in this shift. You don't tell me there's 15,000 financial advisors entering from Morgan Stanley. Cohen highlighted that Bitcoin and Ether, through distinct in their use cases, serve as a portfolio diversification. Addressing the recent net outflows from spot Ethereum ETFs, she expressed no concerns, noting that the strong initial launch and the role these ETFs play as an access point for investors seeking exposure to Ethereum. Even BlackRock, chief investment officer, on a Bloomberg interview said, what's going on inside the market space now? She basically said, same thing that Raoul Paul said, same thing that Arthur Hayes said, and same thing that I said before all these people. She remarked on the outflows from more expensive funds, such as Grayscale's Ethereum Trust, and noted that investors' interest in incorporating ETH into the broader portfolios within trusted ecosystems. Cohen also indicated that a spot ETF for altcoins like Solana is unlikely in the near future for the time being. Robert Mitchnick, BlackRock's head of digital assets, echoed this sentiment. Robert, BlackRock's head of digital assets, also echoed what she just said. Cohen, the BlackRock investment chief officer. He said, I don't think we're going to see a long list of crypto ETFs for the time being. And we're going to be going forward with these two, the Bitcoin ETFs and the Ethereum ETFs. Now, on a very simple basis, what was just discussed by BlackRock's Cohen, chief investment officer, that's what's happening inside the market space now, not a big deal. So according to BlackRock, what's happening inside the market space right now, not a big deal. According to Morgan Stanley, what's happening inside the market space right now, not a big deal. According to Raoul Paul, the economist, not a big deal. Arthur Hayes, not a big deal. Japan and Hong Kong's biggest brokerage firm coming in, not a big deal. They're actually offering discounts for people to jump on board even more. So, BitGo essentially launching their institutional clientele, not a big deal. Ripple is going to be launching their stablecoin this year as well, not a big deal. But according to the news, and according to the crypto space and the influencers, we're going into a 1929 depression and World War III, apparently. But according to BlackRock's chief investment officer, BlackRock's digital asset fund managers, Morgan Stanley, biggest Japanese and Hong Kong brokerage firms, Raoul Paul, the list goes on with the amount of people. Not a big deal. But the other side of crypto and the news, 1921 depression and World War III is on the way. Of course it is. Now, Democrat elites, crypto industry leaders to hold a virtual roundtable, which is something that's going on right now. So an actual roundtable for cryptocurrencies is going to be happening. The White House officials and crypto industry executives are planning to attend a virtual roundtable on Monday, which is tomorrow, discussing digital asset policies, held by pro-crypto rep Connor. According to recent reports, the meeting appears to be a follow-up to the Rep Connor's July roundtable, an in-person meeting at the same subject also attended by billionaire Mark Cuban and New York Senator Christian Gilbert, among others. This time, White House officials, including National Economic Council Director Leah Brainrod and White House Deputy Chief of Staff Bruce Reed and ongoing senior advisor Anthony Don, plan to attend the virtual meeting, according to Political Pro. Don recently became the first of Biden's tight inner circles to announce her departure from the administration. Politico also reported recently that Don will instead advise the largest pro-Harris super PAC, which plans to spend hundreds of millions of dollars supporting Kamala Harris's campaign between now and November. Don had attended the July meeting in personal capacity and impressed industry leaders with her engagements. She was very engaged, actively note-taking, all of that kind of stuff. Crypto Council for Innovation CEO Sheila Warren told the block at the time, for a government official at that level to be a part of an engaged for over an hour, that is pretty amazing and unusual. Not really. They're saying it's amazing that somebody from the government essentially is coming over to this crypto roundtable for an hour to talk about blockchain technology, because obviously this is Kamala Harris's thing, trying to be pro-crypto. And they said it's amazing that the government, members of the Kamala Harris and government are coming around the same table to talk about cryptocurrencies for an hour. It's amazing. Really? For an hour? That's amazing. It doesn't really take too much to impress these people. That is pretty amazing and unusual, apparently. Dunn herself had reportedly described the meeting as good and blunt. The report notes that Kamala Harris campaign officials are invited, but it is unclear whether or not the campaign will send a representative. Yes, they will. The report also notes that no lawmakers other than corners such as Gilbert are expected to attend this time. White House officials and elite Democratic essential operatives will attend a virtual roundtable for crypto industry executives discussing digital asset policies. VP Harris campaign officials have reportedly been invited to the meeting, which is being organized by California Democratic Representative Ro Conan, and Dunn plans to appear at an outgoing White House senior advisor who will soon advise a $300 million super PAC for Kamala Harris and also attend the July roundtable. So, massive roundtable happening on Monday. And is Kamala Harris going to be, for the first time ever, talking about cryptocurrencies? As far as I'm aware, she has zero understanding of blockchain technology. Zero understanding of blockchain technology. So if she doesn't attend, we know why, because she doesn't want to be embarrassed when she's asked questions about cryptocurrencies. But nevertheless, once that meeting happens and once they go into the details and so on, I will definitely reveal after Monday or on Monday on this live show, what was discussed at that roundtable, what could be in play for cryptocurrencies if she becomes the winning leader. And if you're wondering who is also funding Kamala Harris so far, if you're wondering to yourself, why is Kamala Harris raising so much money very quickly? Google is the #1 backing for Kamala Harris. If you're wondering to yourself, why has Kamala Harris got so much more money than Trump coming in the same month? All of a sudden, Google #1 backing. Ironically, one particular search engine also stifled when you type in Trump, and one particular search engine is also backing Kamala Harris. Coincidence that a search engine is stifling somebody's name and at the same time backing somebody? Or maybe just an error in the system, in the search engine, when you type in someone's name and something else comes up, and that particular company is also backing that person. Coincidence, or maybe there was an error in the system? Let's see where we are in the comment sections. Let's see where we were. We were here. Miles, how long do you think mainstream media will last with more and more people finally waking up? Nobody will believe the lies. Jobs will be lost within media. I won't feel for them. Okay, good question, and I'll give you my perspective. So Freedom Forever has asked a brilliant question, which is, Miles, how long do you think the mainstream media will last, and with more and more people finally starting to wake up, and that nobody will believe the lies and the jobs will be lost in the mainstream media, and I don't feel sorry for them, is what he's saying. Okay, with the mainstream media losing their jobs and more people waking up, you might say more and more people are waking up. Not true. Because if you look at the events of the world, that we still have quite a lot of morons in the world. So not true on the basis of, more and more people waking up. Not true. Some individuals waking up makes more sense because we still have too many morons in this world who believe anything that anyone says. Now, moving away from the mainstream media's lies, people, tend to go towards social media. And social media's lies are even worse, to be fairly honest. There is so much fake news from influencers, so much fake news on social media, just like regular media. Mainstream media lies, but there is also so much lies on social media. So even if people, gravitate towards social media news, but there's also so much lies on social media news. Too many lies. And also, when people, lose their jobs in mainstream media and, the audience start going towards social media news, those social influencers are also being paid, most likely by the same companies that were paying those news anchors to lie on news. There are so many people inside the social media influencer space that are being paid by political campaigns, just like news journalists are. So I'll tell you what's actually happening. People are moving away from TV screens and news companies to social medias and individuals. But here's the kicker and the worst part about it. With individuals on social media, you build this type of relationship with individuals on social media because you see this person every day, and people start believing in this person and so on. They might even believe his lies, especially if he's being paid and donated by some political campaign. So people are moving away, yes, from mainstream media, and they're gravitating towards social media. But I'll be honest, the news has just shifted over from mainstream media to individuals on social media. And they're being paid by the same people that the news companies were paying. So nothing's changed. That's my perspective on how long do you think mainstream media will last, and more people are finally waking up and nobody will believe the lies. Well, the lies are now being told on social media. And the companies that were paying news journalists to lie are the exact same companies paying crypto influencers or influencers in general to lie. So, same story. It's just you went from a TV screen to your phone screen, but the lies are still there. All the lies are still there. And on the topic of more and more people waking up, incorrect. A group of individuals have woken up. We still have too many more ones in this world. What's up, brother Miles of CMF? Let's go, Billo. How you doing? I'm self-employed in the building trade, and there is no recession at that minute. I'm turning work away. Let's go, Ronnie. Bitcoin in the long-term investment portfolios, 401k. Yep, definitely it's going to happen. Kamala Harris was at the P. Diddy parties. Let's not forget that she's been well-schooled. Yep, that's true as well. Don't worry, Miles. They will program her regarding the blockchain. Yep. It would behoove her to get on board with crypto and the powers of XRP if she wants to be relevant. Yes, she's going to be very pro CBDC, which is good for XRP. On that basis, yeah. I guess I meant government propaganda. Even government propaganda is going to be pushed by influencers. There are multiple influencers out there that are being financed by governments right now, government political parties. Multiple influencers on TikTok, on Instagram, on X. They're being financed by political parties. Genuine, I'll be very honest. Yes, we're moving away from mainstream media, but we're just moving away from mainstream media, our TV screens to our phone screens, but the lies are being transferred over. Because you went from listening to news companies to listening to influencers that are being paid by the exact same people that were funding the news companies. So the lies are just transferring over. There are multiple government agencies, government departments paying influencers to spread lies. One of them is, I'm not going to mention what their names are, but there's one particular person. He's very pro. He used to be very pro Biden, and now he's very pro Kamala. Now he's very pro Kamala Harris. This is one particular person, but there are multiple people. But I'm not going to name who he is. I'm going to name anyone. But yeah, there's lots of people that are being paid by the exact same government departments that are paying CNN reporters or Fox reporters or so on. Now they're just paying, now they're just paying influencers to do the exact same job, to spread the lies again. So news channels are just becoming influencers, in simple terms. And the funding is from the exact same companies and the exact same government departments. It's just, it went from news channels to influencers. Backing for funding, same company. So the lies will continue. Lies, bias, and misinformation is what is being spewed daily. Facts, what Brian said. I do believe the ground of individuals is increasing, just not fast enough. Yeah, I agree with Shelley as well. Freedom Forever, they're definitely growing. They're definitely growing in terms of more people waking up. I would say yes, but yeah, I agree with Shelley as well. I agree with you as well, Freedom Forever as well. I agree with both of you, and I agree with Shelley where it's not just fast. It's just not fast enough with people waking up. New channels, yeah. You're my new channel, Miles. I don't watch TV. Let's go, Shelly. Shelly, thank you so much for the kind words. I guess I meant government. Yeah. I do believe the government individuals just fast enough. Yeah. The long arm of control is just moving to the next level, Miles. Facts. Different day, same channel. Pretty much perfectly put, Ian. Different day, same channel. Miles isn't for sale. Let's go, Ronnie. And we have also reached the endings of tonight's live show as well. So, if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, even drop a comment on this live show, because it does really help the algorithm when you drop a comment. Even if it's just to say, let's go CMF, as what JP does, or anything else. There's one person that always comments on the CMF live shows, which let me find it. From the CMF, there's one person that always comments on the YouTube. Here we go. The name is Net Installation 8133. There's a user by the name of Net. I'm guessing he's a CMF member, definitely, because he's very always appreciative, and he is a CMF member. But his name obviously is not Net Installation 8133. He has a different name for the CMF. But yeah, Net Installation 8133. Whoever you are from the CMF members, thank you so much. Genuinely, thank you so much for always commenting on the YouTube live shows. This person from the CMF, Net Installation 8133, has commented on every live show video I've done on YouTube. Every single live show, he puts the nicest comment. Thank you so much, genuinely, for the nice comments. But he comments on every single live show. So thank you so much I just want to say I'm very appreciative. Net Installation 8133. Genuinely, thank you so much for putting a comment on every live show that I do. It generally does help with the algorithm. And thank you so much to everybody else that puts comments as well. Besides him, thank you so much to everybody that's putting likes as well. Because all these likes, all these comments, they help with the algorithm to grow this family even further. That's all it does, which is absolutely amazing. Let's go CMF. Let's go Ronnie. Good night, Miles, and all of the CMF. Great live. Thank you for the news too. Let's go JP. Thanks, Miles. Do you mean comment outside the live? Yes, comment outside the live. There's one person inside the CMF that always puts a comment. So when the live finishes, when the live video finishes, he puts a comment on the replay video, and he's always put a comment. Peace out, Miles, and CMF. Stay blessed and keep focused on your crypto journey. Let's get rich together. Let's go. Brian, see you tomorrow sometimes usual. Thank you, Miles, and CMF. Mike, see you tomorrow sometimes usual. Thank you, Miles. Glenda, see you tomorrow sometimes usual. No problem. Like, we need to comment more outside of the live. If you want to, it's completely optional. It helps with the algorithm. It's completely optional if you want to comment outside the live. After the live is finished, in other words. If you want to comment, it's completely optional. I just want to say thank you to that person because he's genuinely commented. He's genuinely commented on every live show. And he's always put, his recent comment was, thanks, Miles, good night, and enjoyed all the information you have provided for me and the CMF family. Much appreciated. That was his recent comment. That was yesterday's live show. So on the replay, he puts comments. I just want to say thank you so much to that person, whoever that person is. Like, we need to come out. It's completely optional. Okay, sure. Okay, sure, we can do that. I didn't realize this. No problem. It's completely optional. I was just mentioning, I want to say thank you to that person, genuinely. I will see everybody tomorrow. Genuinely, thank you so much to everybody from the CMF that tunes in, first of all, every single live show. Thank you so much to every single one of you that likes the live show, retweets the live show, and puts comments in the live show, getting involved in the live Q&A, and after the live show as well. All of this genuinely is helping to grow this family even bigger, which is absolutely amazing. I will see everybody tomorrow. Same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or good night, depending on where you are around the world, CMF. Good night, Miles and family. Have a good one. See you tomorrow. Ian, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. Good night, Miles and CMF. Thanks for all the info. Free forever. See you tomorrow sometime as usual as well. I'll see everybody tomorrow night and day to all CMF. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Let's go, Shelly. Shelly, see you tomorrow, sometime as usual as well. I'll see everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. CMF, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Good night, Miles. Scott, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Carol, good night. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. I'll see everybody tomorrow, same time as usual.